Have you ever wondered if that humble clove of garlic hiding in your pantry could actually be doing more harm than good? Believe it or not, nearly 7 out of 10 adults over 50 are unknowingly making dangerous garlic mistakes that put their digestive health, medication safety, and nutrient absorption at serious risk. Imagine consuming a simple kitchen staple and inadvertently weakening your stomach lining, throwing off your blood pressure meds, or even fueling nutrient deficiencies you can't afford at this age. Today, we're uncovering the top 5 shocking garlic mistakes you must avoid over 50, so you can keep reaping the benefits of this powerhouse ingredient without paying a hidden price. But before we start, let us know in the comments below where you're watching from. I'd love to know and say hello. Number 1, eating raw garlic on an empty stomach. When you're over 50, you might think that popping a raw garlic clove first thing in the morning will turbocharge your health. After all, garlic is loaded with compounds like allicin, which has antimicrobial and antioxidant properties. But eating raw garlic on an empty stomach can be problematic, especially for seniors whose digestive lining may already be more sensitive. To understand why, let's dive into the science. Raw garlic contains allicin and the enzyme alliinase, which combine when you crush or chop garlic to form allicin. Allicin is unstable and can irritate the mucous membranes in your stomach and esophagus if you don't buffer it with food. The result can be heartburn, indigestion, or even a mild gastritis flare-up. Your stomach's lining produces hydrochloric acid to break down food, and when you introduce a potent irritant like crushed garlic without anything else in the mix, it can overwhelm the protective mucus layer. Over time, chronic irritation can lead to discomfort or exacerbate conditions like acid reflux or peptic ulcers. Research shows that the irritative effect is dose-dependent. Eating half a clove may be tolerable, but whole cloves on an empty stomach dramatically increase the risk of irritation. Plus, seniors often have slower gastric motility, meaning the garlic compounds stay in contact with the stomach lining longer, prolonging exposure to these irritants. Beyond irritation, raw garlic on an empty stomach can interfere with nutrient absorption. Some studies suggest that reactive sulfur compounds in garlic can bind to certain minerals, like zinc and selenium, reducing their bioavailability. Since seniors already face a higher risk of micronutrient deficiencies, it's wise not to introduce any additional factors that could limit absorption. Instead of risking a mineral gap, consider taking garlic with meals. Combining it with a little healthy fat, like olive oil or avocado, can improve the solubility of allicin and soften its impact on your digestive tract. Another consideration is the impact on gut microbiota. Garlic's antimicrobial properties are well documented. It can kill pathogenic bacteria in the gut, but on an empty stomach, it doesn't discriminate between harmful and beneficial microbes. Seniors benefit from a diverse and balanced microbiome for immune support and metabolic health. Plunging raw garlic into your system without any buffering can disrupt this balance, potentially leading to bloating, gas, or shifts in bowel habits that you might chalk up to age but are actually linked to dietary choices. In a study focusing on elder adults' digestive sensitivity, participants who consumed raw garlic alone reported more gastrointestinal symptoms, like cramping and loose stools, than those who combined garlic with food. The takeaway? If you love the idea of raw garlic, wait until after you've had something else to eat. Maybe stir a bit into yogurt, mix it into a salad dressing, or saute it lightly in a tablespoon of olive oil before tossing it with vegetables. This way, the harshest compounds are diluted and the mucus layer in your digestive tract isn't directly bombarded. Finally, consider any medications you may be on. Seniors often take blood thinners, antacids, or ulcer medications. Raw garlic can potentiate blood thinning effects by inhibiting platelet aggregation. When taken on an empty stomach, this effect peaks more quickly, increasing bleeding risk if you're on warfarin or aspirin. Plus, if you're taking proton pump inhibitors or H2 blockers for reflux, raw garlic can feel like a double whammy. Your stomach is already sensitive, and the garlic compounds rush in to compound irritation. The safest route is to introduce garlic as part of a balanced meal, allowing your body to process it gently and letting you enjoy its benefits, like potential cholesterol modulation and immune support, without paying for it with digestive distress. Number 2, ignoring medication interactions. By the time you hit your 50s and beyond, chances are good that you're on at least one prescription medication, if not more. It could be a statin for cholesterol control, an anticoagulant to lower stroke risk, or a beta blocker for blood pressure management. Garlic, while natural, is pharmacologically active. If you ignore potential interactions, you risk undermining your treatment plan or even triggering adverse events. Let's unpack why. Garlic's active components, allicin, ajoine, and various sulfur-containing compounds, affect enzymes in the liver, particularly the cytochrome P4 and 50 family. These enzymes metabolize a wide range of drugs. For example, if you're on a statin like simvastatin, garlic can inhibit CYP3A4, the enzyme responsible for breaking down that statin. Inhibition means higher levels of active drug circulating in your bloodstream, which can increase the risk of muscle pain or, in rare cases, rhabdomyolysis. The principle here is simple. Two substances metabolized by the same pathway compete, and the winner lingers longer, amplifying effects and side effects. With blood thinners, warfarin, or newer agents like rivaroxaban, garlic is a double-edged sword. On one hand, garlic's antiplatelet activity can be beneficial. It may slightly reduce clotting risk. On the other, if you take too much or combine it with prescription anticoagulants, you can tip into bleeding territory. There have been documented cases of spontaneous bruising and prolonged bleeding times in patients who added high doses of garlic supplements to their regimen. As a senior, your vascular system is already more fragile, and a small cut or a minor fall could lead to excessive bleeding. Then there's the interaction with antihypertensives. Garlic is known to lower blood pressure modestly by promoting vasodilation, partly through hydrogen sulfide production in the endothelium. That effect could synergize with your doctor's blood pressure pills, causing your blood pressure to dip too low, which in turn can lead to dizziness, falls, or fainting episodes. Falls are a serious concern for seniors. A momentary dizzy spell can turn into a hip fracture or head injury. If your physician isn't aware you're consuming garlic supplements or large amounts of garlic, they can't adjust your medication dosage appropriately. Another less obvious interaction involves anti-diabetic drugs. Garlic can enhance insulin sensitivity and promote glucose uptake by muscles. While that sounds like a boon if you're managing type 2 diabetes, combining garlic with your oral hypoglycemic medication can sometimes push your blood sugar below safe ranges. Hypoglycemia in seniors is particularly dangerous because they often have a blunted response to low blood sugar, meaning they might not feel shaky or sweaty until levels are critically low. Finally, think about liver-metabolized drugs beyond statins. Antidepressants, some cancer therapies, anti-epileptics, even certain HIV medications. If you're using concentrated garlic supplements, which often deliver higher doses of allicin than you'd get from culinary garlic, you're essentially altering the hepatic clearance rate of these drugs. As a result, the medication can either build up to toxic levels or get cleared too quickly, making it less effective. The bottom line, before you add garlic supplements or significantly increase your garlic intake, talk to your healthcare provider. They can run blood tests to track drug levels, monitor for unintended side effects, and adjust dosages. In many cases, incorporating garlic into your diet rather than relying on concentrated pills provides health benefits with a lower risk of dangerous interactions. Number 3. Taking low-quality or processed garlic supplements. In your 50s and beyond, convenience often wins. Storing fresh garlic takes space, chopping it takes time, and the odor can linger. As a result, many seniors turn to garlic supplements, garlic powder capsules, garlic oil tablets, or aged garlic extract. But not all supplements are created equal, and low-quality or heavily processed options can do more harm than good. To stay on the safe side, you need to think like a chemist and a consumer. Quality begins with raw material. High-grade supplements start with fresh, organically grown bulbs, harvested at peak maturity. Why organic? Non-organic garlic may be treated with pesticides or stored with chemicals to retard sprouting, and those residues can carry over into the supplement. Aged garlic extract, AGE, is popular because it offers purported heart health benefits through stable sulfur compounds like S-allylcysteine. However, if the extraction process uses excessive heat or solvents, it can degrade bioactive compounds or introduce residual solvents into the final product. In simple terms, cheap supplements sometimes cut corners, substituting garlic powder that's mostly fillers, inactive starch, or even ingredients like rice flour. You also need to pay attention to standardization. A high-quality garlic supplement will list the allicin potential or S-allylcysteine content per serving. If the label simply lists garlic bulb powder without any standardized active ingredient measure, you're in the dark about what you're ingesting. Seniors need predictable dosages because you're more sensitive to both the positive and negative effects of bioactive compounds. A 500 milligram capsule that claims equivalent to 1 fresh clove may actually deliver far less than that, or worse, overpromise and underdeliver. Look for independent third-party testing seals, NSF International, USP, or Consumer Lab. These organizations test for purity, potency, and contaminants like heavy metals or microbial load. If you skip this step, you risk taking a supplement with negligible active compounds, or conversely, a product contaminated with toxins. How about enteric coatings? Some brands coat their garlic capsules to prevent early breakdown in the stomach, ensuring allicin releases in the intestines, where it's less likely to irritate the stomach lining. But coatings can be a double-edged sword. If you have slower gastrointestinal transit, common in seniors, an enteric-coated tablet might linger too long in the stomach or adhere to the mucosa, delaying release and causing localized irritation. Furthermore, certain coatings contain polymers like cellulose derivatives, which can cause mild digestive upset or even impact nutrient absorption if taken in large quantities. Next, consider shelf life. Allicin is notoriously unstable. It degrades quickly when exposed to air and light. A supplement bottle that's been sitting on a hot warehouse shelf for months could have lost most of its activity by the time you open it. Some manufacturers add silica gel packets to extend shelf life, but you need to check expiration dates and store your supplements in a cool, dark place. As a senior, you may have a routine of buying a 6-month supply, but if you don't finish it in 3 months, the potency could drop significantly. Finally, don't forget about cost versus benefit. High-quality garlic supplements can be pricey, sometimes upwards of $50 to $1 per capsule. If you're on a fixed income, that's a real consideration. Ask yourself, can I achieve similar benefits by using fresh garlic, storing it properly, and cooking it in a way that preserves allicin? If you do use supplements, rotate brands every few months, monitor for any changes in digestion or blood markers, and consult with your pharmacist or doctor. They can recommend trusted brands and help you understand whether a supplement is necessary given your diet and health status. Number 4, assuming more is better with dosage. When it comes to garlic, it's tempting, especially if you've heard about its cardiovascular perks, to think that a little isn't enough. So you ramp up your intake, whether by tossing multiple cloves into every meal or swallowing handfuls of garlic tablets. But as you age, your body's ability to process bioactive compounds changes. Overconsumption of garlic can tip the scales from therapeutic to risky, leading to bleeding complications, gastrointestinal distress, and even nutrient malabsorption. Let's get into the details. First, consider the bleeding risk. Garlic's sulfur compounds, primarily allicin and its downstream metabolites, exert antithrombotic effects by inhibiting platelet aggregation. In small to moderate amounts, this can help maintain healthy blood viscosity and reduce clot formation. But when you overdo it, you amplify that antithrombotic effect. Older adults are already more prone to bruising and bleeding because blood vessels become more fragile, and platelet function can be altered with age. Pairing high doses of garlic, 3 or more fresh cloves daily, or multiple high allicin supplement pills, with regular activities like brushing your teeth or light gardening could result in unexpected nosebleeds or bruises that linger. Second, let's talk about gastrointestinal consequences. Your stomach produces less acid as you get older, which changes the pH environment. In this higher pH setting, allicin can linger longer and come into contact with the lining of your stomach and intestines more intensely. That can cause burning sensations, bloating, or exacerbation of pre-existing conditions like IBS or diverticulitis. Anecdotally, seniors who reported doubling down on raw garlic consumed it for heart health, but ended up at the doctor complaining of persistent gastralgia, which resolved only after they cut back. Moderation is key. 1 to 2 cloves, or the equivalent supplement dosage per day, is often sufficient to harness benefits without tipping into irritation. Third, chronic overconsumption can impact nutrient status. Garlic contains fructans, short chains of fructose molecules that can be difficult to digest. Seniors often have decreased levels of the enzyme sucrase isomaltase, which helps break down complex carbohydrates. When you ingest large amounts of garlic, undigested fructans travel to the colon, where they ferment and cause gas, cramping, or even diarrhea. This can lead to malabsorption of other nutrients if you're experiencing chronic loose stools. Over time, deficiencies in fat-soluble vitamins or minerals like calcium and magnesium can sneak up on you, exacerbating age-related concerns like bone density loss. Fourth, there's a psychological component. When you assume more is better, you may neglect other aspects of your diet. If you're slathering garlic on everything, you might rely on heavy cooking oils or cheeses to mask its sharpness, increasing your intake of saturated fats or sodium. At over 50, cardiovascular risk is multifactorial. It's not just about a single superfood, but about overall diet quality, exercise, stress, and sleep. If you overemphasize garlic and sideline leafy greens, whole grains, or lean proteins, you miss out on a variety of phytochemicals and nutrients that work synergistically to support heart health. Lastly, consider the social implications. Seniors often gather for meals or family events. If you're constantly emitting that potent garlic odor, especially when you've had a garlic overdose, you might inadvertently distance yourself from others. Bad breath, halitosis, and body odor from garlic can linger for hours as your body metabolizes sulfur compounds and releases them through breath and sweat. This seemingly minor social hiccup can lead to feelings of self-consciousness or reduced social interaction, which in turn impact mental health and quality of life. Moderation ensures you get the benefits, like potential blood pressure reduction or immune support, without the downsides. Number 5, failing to store and prepare garlic properly. You might assume that all garlic is created equal. Grab a head from the grocery shelf, stick it in your pantry, and it'll stay fresh. But after 50, your body responds differently to compounds based on their age and potency. When garlic isn't stored or prepared correctly, you lose key health-promoting nutrients and risk introducing harmful byproducts. Let's look at how seniors can avoid these pitfalls. First, storage. Fresh garlic should be kept in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated environment, around 60 degrees, 15 to 18 degrees, with moderate humidity. Many seniors stash garlic in sealed plastic bags or in the refrigerator's crisper drawer. In plastic, garlic sweats, fostering mold growth and decreasing allicin yield. In the fridge, the cold triggers sprouting. Once that green shoot appears, the garlic bulb converts its starch reserves to sugars, altering flavor and reducing bioactive sulfur compounds. Bulbs stored in these improper conditions often develop cladosporium rot, which is a black mold that can produce mycotoxins when ingested. In older adults with weaker immune systems, these mycotoxins can lead to mild foodborne illnesses or exacerbate inflammatory conditions. Second, preparation. Let's talk about the enzyme alliinase, which is critical for converting alline to allicin when garlic is crushed. Allicin is the compound responsible for many of garlic's touted benefits: antioxidant, antibacterial, and possibly anti-cancer effects. But if you chop garlic and immediately expose it to high heat, you deactivate alliinase before allicin can form. That means you absorb fewer beneficial sulfur compounds and instead get mostly inert compounds that contribute flavor but not the therapeutic punch. The sweet spot is to crush or slice garlic and let it sit for at least 10 minutes before cooking. This period allows alliin and alliinase to mingle and produce allicin. For seniors, that extra step is worth it because peak allicin levels are linked to the greatest cardiovascular benefits, like improving endothelial function and reducing LDL oxidation. Third, powdered garlic isn't equivalent to fresh. Garlic powder comes from dehydrated cloves, which often lose up to 80% of their allicin-producing potential through drying and processing. Some brands even use ultraviolet irradiation to sterilize garlic powder, further degrading sulfur compounds. When you sprinkle garlic powder into your soup or onto your roast, you're mainly getting flavor, not the heart-healthy or immune-boosting molecules you expect. Seniors relying on garlic powder as a health supplement may feel they're doing something beneficial, but in reality, they're missing out on the molecule concentrations that superficial seasoning can't replicate. Fourth, let's address sprouted garlic. You might toss out cloves that have green shoots, but that's a truncated approach. When garlic sprouts, it produces antioxidants like allicin to protect itself, but it also undergoes internal changes that shift sulfur compound profiles. Studies indicate that sprouted garlic contains higher levels of certain flavonoids but lower levels of allicin precursors. For seniors seeking cardiovascular benefits specifically tied to allicin, sprouted garlic is a suboptimal choice. Use sprouted garlic for milder applications like infusing olive oil for dressings, where flavor trumps functionality, and reserve unsprouted bulbs for therapeutic cooking. Finally, let's consider contamination and cross-contamination. Many seniors use the same cutting board and knife for meats, vegetables, and garlic. If you don't scrub and sanitize thoroughly after handling raw chicken or fish, you risk introducing pathogens like Campylobacter or Salmonella onto your garlic. When you then crush or saute that garlic, those bacteria can linger, potentially causing foodborne illness. While healthy adults often shrug off mild gastrointestinal infections, seniors can experience severe dehydration or even sepsis. Use separate cutting boards or at least scrub vigorously, especially when you've cut raw protein just before handling garlic. Properly storing and preparing garlic not only preserves its active compounds, but also protects you from spoilage and illness. When you handle garlic correctly, in a cool, dark, well-ventilated spot, and by allowing crushed cloves to rest before cooking, you maximize allicin formation, harness its antioxidant power, and minimize digestive discomfort. And by avoiding cross-contamination and mold growth, you guard against mycotoxin exposure and foodborne infections. In your 50s and beyond, these guidelines help you enjoy garlic's many health benefits, like improved blood pressure regulation and enhanced immune defense, while steering clear of problems that can undermine your well-being. Thanks for sticking around to learn how to dodge these garlic pitfalls. If you found any of these tips eye-opening, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for more practical health insights designed for the over 50 crowd. Have you run into any of these garlic blunders yourself? Drop your experiences in the comments. I'm always eager to hear your stories and learn from each other. Until next time, take good care of your health, keep cooking smart, and live your best life after 50.